Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli and tonight my guests are, first up, the man that thinks it's necessary to have 4x4 wheels on his wheelchair when he really doesn't venture any further than McDonald's. It's Dr. Evil, the GFP.
I don't, they deliver to me. I have a special communication with them.
That's because you're the only man in the UK that has a card for McDonald's.
I do. I put the little chicken sign up in the sky and they come to me with some chicken things.
You're like Batman.
Oh, moist.
Fat man. It's going downhill already. Next up, ABW's first lady and blogging mistress. It's Gooner Girl Kate. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
How the devil are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. You're only just downstairs.
I was going to say, I already know how you are because I saw you about 10 minutes ago.
We must point out, like OG was the chief blogger, a name that I gave him. I gave Kate the name of the blogging mistress. She didn't pick it. She's not like that.
No.
That we know of.
No, I haven't had to crack the whip yet.
No.
I don't know. I can say a few things.
Dirty Gimli. Get on with it.
Next up, last seen shortly after the transfer window, but we sent Danny with his 4x4 wheels out to find him. It's Geoff Arsenal. Hello, Geoff.
Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, bang on, mate. As normal. A little bit worse for the wear with the last result, but I suppose we're going to cover that, aren't we?
We haven't seen you for nearly a month now. It was deadline day.
I've noticed you've not even missed me, which is
we have missed you. It's the ABW halls have been empty without you.
He was making that up.
Yeah, as you went along.
ABW Towers. That's what I should call it.
It's Gimli Castle. We're living in Wales. That's where we do all this from, live.
It is. Right. Next up.
Sandcastle.
You're so rude. Next up, fresh off the back of scoring 10 goals in the last match. It's a fix, I hear you cry. Carpenter out. It's the man himself, Kris Carpenter. Hello, Kris.
Good evening, Gimbob. Are you
10
well,
goals.
Yes, more to follow.
Did you have to buy the referee Pizza Hut?
Maybe. No further questions, Your Honour.
Or KFC?
It was more a combination of the two, but you do what's needed to be done to get the right result, don't you?
That's expensive. I wouldn't be agreeing to that. Not at all. Right, and finally, it's been a pleasure to host this podcast for nearly 3 years, and our next guest is by far the nicest man I've had to speak to in that time. Please give a warm welcome to ex-Arsenal goalkeeper Rami Shaaban. Hello, Rami.
Hello, thank you very much for those warming words.
You got the only nice intro of the night.
Yeah, you weren't that nice to Danny though.
Well, people, I mean, if you listen to this every week, you'll understand that me and Danny have a love-hate relationship where I think that he's fat and lazy. He thinks I'm on crack. And it just works. But there's no hard feelings between us. We'll still think the same about each other tomorrow. We love each other, really.
You can buy my
silence. That's great to hear.
By giving me $4,500 for that chair.
Yeah.
Cash.
It's not going to happen. Take it out of the podcast funds.
Yeah.
Oh, so do you honestly think Rami listens to this every week? Come on.
No. Not for a second. Not for a second. Right then. As always, first on the agenda, it's scores across the board. So, Danny, let's go over with a little bit of a loan watch.
Right, first of all, with the loan watch, I forgot. I knew there was something I hadn't done. It was the results. I was busy trimming my hair. Right, Premier League, Carl Jenkinson, West Ham, started in the 2-2 draw with Norwich. Serge Gnabry, unused sub for West Brom as they lost 3-2 to Everton, a game they should have won, but what a ding-dong of a game that was. In the Championship, Damian Martinez of Wolves, he started in the 1-1 draw with 9-man Preston, and started in the 3-0 win over Fulham, so it looks like Wolves have decided that he's their main man, because they were swapping between him and a goalkeeper whose name begins with the letter I, and I think it has a K in it. Ikilme or Ekmel, I don't know. Ashley Maitland-Niles,
Conservative.
Thank you very much. For Ipswich, he started in the 2-2 draw with Bristol City. Isaac Hayden, unused sub in the 1-1 draw with Blackburn. Chupa Chupa Apcom started in the 1-1 draw with Blackburn Rovers, because they're both playing for the same team. John Terrell played a couple of games. He started in the 2-0 loss to Rotherham. Then they dropped him, Birmingham, and he was an unused sub, and they beat Brentford 2-0. Oh, the roller coaster of being a pro. Wellington boot silver. Bolton started in the 2-2 draw with Brighton and Hove Albion. So far, I don't think he's doing that well. My mate's a Bolton season ticket holder, Mick Dagger. Hello, if you're listening. I might give him a ring.
Did you say his name again?
Mick Dagger.
Anything to do with Mick Jagger?
Hey, old lad.
He got the move like Dagger.
I think he was 50 the other day. The old git. Super Dan Crowley, future Ireland legend, no longer England legend because he's chosen to go and play for them lot, which is good. Came on as a sub as Barnsley beat Gillingham 2-0. Over to Italy, Wojciech Szczesny, try saying that before he signed for us, I'd have had no chance for Roma. He was injured as Roma beat Carpi 5-1. Everybody beats Carpi because they're a bit crappy. And he's back. Szczesny is back. He played in the midweek loss to Bate Borisov as they lost 3-2 in the Champions League. Yaya no goals in Holland, not in the squad, and they beat Groningen 2-0. He's out in the cold already. It's a bit of a sad shame. But going from one extreme to the other, Super Gideon Zelalem of Glasgow Rangers started in the 4-0 win over Greenock Morton and got another assist. And they are the only 100% record team in the whole of European football, I think, which is nice to see, isn't it?
Yes.
And then as for the results, I should go and have a look on here and do this as I'm going. Come on, internet, work faster. Damn you. Oh, I think the child's looking at porn again. Oh no, here we go. The Arsenal under... She's giving me a look. Quorn, it's a type of fake meat. Yeah. The under-19s in the Champions League beat Olympiacos 3-2. Didn't the under-19s in the Champions League beat Dinamo Zagreb as well?
They might have done,
that's
yes.
The answer. We play our under-19s. Peggy Unpronounceable scored a couple, and Sheaf scored a penalty. That's lovely. And the under-21s beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-2. And we did say it last week, but we'll say it again this week. Our under-18s beat them lot up from N17 5-3. What utter joy. And quickly to the ladies, on to the results. And, we beat Sunderland ladies 3-1s with Obagagu, Pablos and Sanchom. Oh, Rami, I'm sorry if I'm offending you with my inability to pronounce anything that isn't English or Anglo-Saxon.
Oh, that's fine. I'm used to it.
Hey, lovely. At least I get your name right. And that's all I have for you, Mr. Gimli.
Wonderful.
Well, that's an overstatement.
Kris, have we got any Pirates news?
Yeah, a little bit of news. Since the last time we spoke, we've just played the one game. We're down to just one game a week now. We beat Tamar View 10-3 last Sunday. Hat trick from Callum Knight, who's in talks with Man City about a high-profile move, but we won't let him go. Also a hat trick from Adam Smetanka. There's one for Danny.
Adam, I can say that.
Indeed, Adam. And a goal apiece for Paul Miller with a lovely little chip, which was very much David Bentley-esque. Dare I say it, but it was.
How many levels down are you, Kris?
We are Plymouth and West Devon League Division 3.
Okay.
The question should be, Geoff, how many leagues are there below you?
One.
It's one above Subbuteo.
It's the Pound Shop One Touch Adhesive League.
Snort It and Sea League, yeah. No, we were very good. Our man of the match, I was going to ask Danny to say this, but he's only 16 years of age, and he's called Lorias Manolius. So Danny's got away with one tonight, because if I hadn't been on, he'd have had to have tried to pronounce that. So, yes, he was very good.
To his mates.
And then indeed. And then on Sunday, we've got another league match this weekend against Plymouth United B at Marjohn's College. And we're currently don't touch it too heavily, but we're 6th in the league currently, and with a win on Sunday, we could go 3rd.
How many teams in the league? 8?
13, cheeky bugger.
Mid-table mediocrity, Kris.
We've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1 out of 3 so far. So
okay.
How many Carpenter out banners have there been?
Well, they're being pulled in. We started the season. The ground was full of them. We couldn't move from.
Are they putting big bags on deck chairs yet?
Give it a week. If we lose on Sunday, that might happen. But I did have a guy come up to me last week and ask me to talk to him about net spend, which I was a bit concerned about at this stage of the season. But still,
I think you need a fucking haircut, mate. I'm telling you.
There's a lot of people that would agree with that, Geoff.
Yeah.
Are there people out there yet saying that they're not going to buy Barbican Pirates gear or attend the I would say playing field where you go on a Sunday? Yeah. You had any of that? No one's willing to buy Barbican Pirates badges from the online forum?
No, but I should say just on that, since we last spoke, there are now shirts in Chicago in the USA. Var, who's Catherine's partner, she's bought one. Pete Kennelly has a shirt in Melbourne, Australia. And who's the other one that has one? Somebody else has one overseas.
Hold on. If you listen carefully, you can hear an angry Welshman screaming at the top of his voice in the valleys, "Get the fuck on with it, you bastards!"
No, he's too busy getting drunk after Wales lost at the rugby. Won at the rugby earlier. Sorry, should I say?
Don't talk about rugby.
He'll be happy. He'll be happy.
Don't talk about rugby.
Yeah, things on the up anyway. So onwards and upwards.
Carpenter in.
Yes.
Right, so we'll kick on then and discuss our 5-2 away win over Leicester City. Kris, we'll stick with you then. Would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, which game are we starting with? I just muted myself. Leicester. Let's start with Leicester. Start with the good and work into the bad, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good game. Really good. It's one of those games. I think there was a total of 50 shots between both sides, which is absolutely mental. And it was very, very much end to end. For a neutral, I'm sure it was delightful. For us loyal Gooners, it was probably a little bit too close for comfort at times. I know we could easily have been 3 or 4-1 down in the first 10 minutes. But that is the life of an Arsenal fan. Once we sort of got to grips with the game, the equaliser sort of quite quickly after they'd gone in front was quite important. We got to see the Alexis Sanchez that we've all got really used to over the past sort of 18 months or so. He looked back to his best. Theo Walcott continues to sort of prove doubters, me being one of those that he can still score goals, still remained a little bit unconvinced about his opportunities forward, but he's scoring the goals and that's all you can ask for him. And overall, I thought once we kicked into gear, it was a little bit more like the old quick transition counter-attacking Arsenal of last season and beyond, but I don't know, that there's something not quite right defensively, which I'm sure we'll come on to sadly later on. But shipping, if you're going to ship 2, it's important that you do score at least 3, and to get 5 is a bonus. So we'll take that. They were undefeated at that point. It's a good result. We move on, and I thought that would set us up for a run. But less said the better on that regard with what happened next, I guess.
Definitely so. So lots of points there to touch on from what Kris has said. And we'll start with going 1-0 down quite early in the game. Geoff, do you think Arsenal can be accused of starting slowly this year?
I don't know. I don't think so. We just, Arsenal, how Arsenal play, they're always going to attack. Every team that plays Arsenal, they know that, they're going to go all out and attack you. And Arsenal always, pardon me, Arsenal will always give you a chance to have the ball yourself and give you chances as well. And Leicester, fair play to them. Generally teams, when we go to as an away team to another stadium, they just generally camp out in their own half, and we're like the home team. But Leicester didn't. They went gung ho as well. And like Kris said, it was an entertaining game. But I just do worry about Arsenal. We get. It was more like a basketball match, and I don't really want us playing like you have a go, then we have a go, and you have a go, and we have a go. We should be a little bit more cuter than that. We got caught again for the first goal. It was a great goal by the lad, by the way, but we got caught upfield. The ball went out to the left. Vardy cut inside. Per should have got across there a lot easier, a lot quicker. He let the boy really do what he want and flick it round him, But apart from that, we scored some great goals. Both teams could have quite easily scored maybe another couple of goals. It was that entertaining. But we just need to tighten up at the back. Like you said, Kris, I'm sure we're going to cover that shortly, Gim?
Yeah, it's more of a case of the next game where that comes into discussion. But Kate, we'll go over to you now. Walcott grabs another goal. You can't really criticise him while he's scoring goals, can you? A lot of people have said that he's not a striker. But what's your thought on that? Do you think he can toe the line for Arsenal this season?
I think he can. I like Theo. I've always liked Theo. I'm not one who doesn't think he can make it in the team or whatever. I really like him, and I think apart from Ox being my tip for being the top scorer this season, I think Theo could potentially pop up there as well. And if we haven't got Giroud scoring the goals that he should be, then why shouldn't someone else come in and do it? We need someone else to come in and do it.
So, I mean, everyone's saying that you've got to give Walcott the games, and I think he scored something like, Danny will probably be able to tell me, but something like 6 in 6 starts or something ridiculous like that.
11 in 12 starts.
Okay, so, he's taken his chances, he's scoring goals, maybe not as many as we'd like him to, but for you, is he ahead of Giroud, Kate?
At the moment, yes, because he's scoring the goals, but like you said, he's not a striker, is he? And you still have to have a striker out there on the pitch.
And Rami, Alexis Sanchez, what an absolutely stunning hat-trick. What would you have thought if you had to face him as a goalkeeper?
Oh, so difficult to say. He was electric. But he's so difficult. The thing that worries me, you guys spoke about it already. It was a fantastic game, but the way we concede goals worries me. And I don't mind playing a little bit, like you said, a basketball game. I remember when I was at Arsenal, we knew we were going to win. The thing is, I don't think we have the squad for that now. Before we had that, we could concede a goal. We knew we were going to turn this thing around. We don't have that foundation in the team. So I was hoping as well, after that game, we will bounce back and get a run. But that proves that the team is not ready yet to bounce back the way like it was before. So at the same time, last year we were really solid moments defensively. We didn't concede that much. But I think a big part of why we scored 5 is because they really gave it a shot. So that suits Sanchez, the quick players, and he was fantastic.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you could see that the Arsenal game plan was worked out fairly early. You had Walcott on the last defender, and you had just balls being knocked over the top to him, and he was just outpacing the defenders all day long. I think when you're playing that kind of game, of course, like you said, Rami, Leicester went for it in the same way that kind of Arsenal did as well. Kris, I want to come to you. Vardy got 2 goals against us. Were they defensive errors? Should we be conceding 2 goals to teams like Leicester City?
It's a hard one to answer because I suppose you always look for defensive sort of stability, and you always look for clean sheets. And sure, Rami will tell you better than most people, the goalkeepers will be livid, conceding 1 goal, let alone 2. But when you're away from home, you're against a team that are very much on the up. Leicester are a team that certainly play a wide open, expansive style of football, which generally does mean that I've sort of played in games where you play against teams where they essentially attack you, and you see the space behind them, and you almost push on too much to sort of counteract it. So you leave yourself more wide open, and particularly for the first goal, Geoff made a great point that the touch from Vardy with his head was absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's high level technical ability to be able to just cushion that out of the air at that pace. And the finish was superb as well. I would say that there was maybe a slight bit of miscommunication between Per and Cos. I thought maybe one of the two could have closed him down a bit quicker. Cos clearly was trying to cover the angle, and Mertesacker honestly just got there a little bit late. So I think you could probably ask questions of that. The second goal, I mean, it wasn't brilliant defending a game, but at that sort of stage of the game, I think we were 5-1 up at the time, or 4-1 up at the time, weren't we? And it just sort of struck me as a bit of a consolation. Minds had sort of switched off. The game was won. That doesn't excuse that, of course. You still want to be professional, and you still want to see the game out. And 5-1 would obviously have been better, because at the end of the season, who knows how much 1 goal could affect a position in the league, finishing goal difference wise. But overall, it's much of a muchness. I'm probably falling to that camp that I'm just as happy if we win 5-4 as if we win 1-0 these days.
I mean, that's very true. A win is a win at the end of the day, no matter how slobby. Geoff, Flamini got an injury and Arteta came on. How did he do? Because a lot of the fans have been very, very critical, saying that, Arteta couldn't do a job, but I think he played about 79 minutes in this one.
Yeah, yeah. Arteta is the flavour of the month for getting all the stick. Him and Giroud. I don't know who's in front. Arsenal fans just always need someone to beat for whatever reason. I don't really understand it, because for what I've seen, he's done okay since he's come back from injury. He's done a decent job. Leicester is one of those games that you can get away with playing Arteta. Although they did have a lot of pace in Vardy up top. I think he did a good job when he come on. To be perfectly honest with you, Gim.
No, I can't disagree with you, Geoff. Right then, I think we're almost close. Actually, I've got another couple of questions. Danny, I want to come to you, and it's a fairly simple one. Leicester were unbeaten until this game, so just how good a win for us was this one?
Because you read in the notes that I haven't seen the game. It's on Sky, on my Sky box, and I thought I won't watch it at the weekend. I'll watch it Thursday afternoon, so it's fresh in my mind.
Fair enough.
So to beat the fact that we beat the Invincibles just shows that we're double invincibles. I think that's all I can say about it. But I honestly thought we'd go there, and I put us down for a draw because they're no mugs either. They're a decent team. They're well organised. Mahrez is on form. Vardy is on form. Kris picked Vardy for first goal scorer. Our Jace predicted that we'd score 5. I think Dom probably predicted that we beat them 14-2 like he usually does. I think he had us down for a 7-0 win midweek with Ospina scoring the first goal. He wanted points because it was an Ospina own goal. That doesn't count, does it?
No,
it doesn't. But I was very impressed with it. And if you all want to wait 20 minutes, I'll go and watch the highlights now.
No, it's all right. There's no need to wait.
What did you think of the game? As I didn't have much to say.
What did I think? I thought it was a very open game. It was a very enjoyable game of football to watch. I think there were points in the game where it could have gone either way, but fortunately, our class just showed through. And that man, Alexis Sanchez, whenever he plays and he's up for the game, or it looks like he's up for the game, we pretty much stroll it. I thought it was a good performance.
You know that was our 100th Arsenal player to score a hat-trick, or 99, because Julio Batista scored a hat-trick for us, but he was only on loan.
And I
some
think
say it's 99, some say it's 100.
With that hat-trick, Alexis Sanchez becomes the first player in football history to score 3 hat-tricks in 3 different leagues. Am I right?
You probably are.
Udinese in Italy, Barcelona in Spain, and Arsenal in England.
So you wait till Bentner. Bentner will be on the case. He'll soon fix that.
That's history in the making. Rami, we'll finish this off with you then. And the win leaves us 4th in the table. We're looking strong in the league. So, I mean, what really are your expectations on how you've seen us play so far? Do you think 4th place is still the best we can hope for? Or do you think we might hope to go a little bit better?
My heart says something. My brain says something else, to be honest. I still see that we lack players to be competing for the title this year. The thing is, a lot of people say here in Sweden, yeah, Arsenal have the squad now for compete for the title. I can agree, to be honest. You need to have like a solid team, and like I said before, the thing that worries me is like we do a brilliant effort, the whole team, against Leicester away, but I am lacking the character. I'm lacking like go for a run, play 10 games, winning, It's like you need to have that to be able to win something. And like maybe the players were so happy after the win against Leicester, so maybe that made this game in Champions League, it was like a miscalculation, or like you need to have someone like Vieira that can like boost up, and now it's a new game, let's go. And that kind of player, we're lacking that.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, that's why it depends on if something happens here in January, to be honest.
Yeah, I think everybody's got their eye on the January transfer window. We'll move on to that game last night then, and we'll do a preview to the Manchester United game later in the show. But seeing as Rami has brought us onto it, we might as well hit it head on. There were 5 changes made to the team that beat Leicester. Now, Rami, we'll stick with you again. Surely when you've got a group of players, they've come in off the back of the Leicester game, which was a good result and a fairly solid performance. Do you not keep the squad together and build on the momentum that you've gotten from that game? I mean, Arsene Wenger said before the game that Olympiacos was a must-win, so you wouldn't have expected him to make 5 changes, would you?
No, I was surprised, to be honest. Why don't stick with the same players if you can? I mean, and keep up the momentum.
No, I agree.
I don't see any, like, why should you change something that is really good?
Yeah, exactly. If it's not broken, there's absolutely no need to fix it. I mean, we've got plenty of talking points with this one, and I mean, we have pretty much scraped over the Leicester game to some degree, just because there's simply more talking points with this one.
We'd rather have a moan than celebrate a quality win.
Well, it's not a moan though, Danny, is it? I mean, if there's things to talk about, then there's things to talk about. Good performance against Leicester. We've gone into this one, and you know, it was a shower, to be honest, wasn't it?
That's a very polite way of putting it.
It was.
Yeah.
It's
I would rather take a loss at Leicester and win against Olympiacos every day a week.
It's a good point. You saw players like Ospina, Gibbs, Gabriel, Coquelin, and Ox brought into play, which, I mean, on paper, isn't bad, is it? It's not life-threatening. I mean, you would have thought that there would have been enough in that team to beat Olympiacos, wouldn't you, Kate?
You'd think so, but apparently not. I don't know what went wrong last night, but I know that we were both sat there shouting at the television. And we had an argument, but we'll get onto that later.
Yes.
But yeah, we should have done better. Much, much, much better.
Geoff, you are a great advocate of Arsene Wenger, and I'm sure you'd expect things to be chucked your way tonight. So my question to you is, he made mistakes against Zagreb when he rested all those players, and some could say that he took the game for granted. Could he be accused of doing the same thing with Olympiacos?
Well, personally, I think he put a side out against Zagreb that should have won the match. It's, you give these lads chances. They're squad players. They are entitled to, once they're given a chance, especially against a team like Zagreb, although it's going to be difficult away from home. European nights are totally different. I get all that. But you've got to be ready for it, and you've got to get out there and give your all and make sure you put a performance in that gives the manager something to think about for the next game. And, you want to be amongst it. The Olympiacos game, we're talking about a big squad. We've got Manchester United this coming week, right? The players that he brought in are first-team players. They played loads of games together. We'll no doubt discuss the goalkeeping situation. We'll leave that on the side. But the side that he put out against Olympiacos was a very, very strong side. I mean, you look at the front line, the 5 or 6 at the front, they're top quality players that are first-team players for Arsenal Football Club. I don't see the problem there. The side that he put out was definitely strong enough to win the game. The problem is we made stupid errors again, and that's individual errors that the manager can't really do nothing about that. It's up to the actual player on the pitch to concentrate and get your game right. It's as simple as that. And people are going to say, they say it all the time, oh, well, you're going to say that because it's Wenger. No, I'm saying that is because that's how I see the game, not because it doesn't make I've got no allegiance to Arsene Wenger. I like him. I like what he's done for the club. But if he makes a mistake, I think it's a mistake, I'll say it's a mistake. If I don't think it's 100% down to him, he can only do so much. He can't cross that white line. He's not telling them to go out there and not concentrate, or he's not telling Ospina to drop the ball over the line. He's giving them trust to get their game right, come back with the 3 points or the win or whatever it is. Simple as that.
And Kris, I want your opinion on the players that were rested. Do you think that there was definitely one eye on Manchester United this Sunday when he decided to pick that team for the Champions League Tuesday night?
It's hard to tell because obviously only the manager will be able to answer that. And I know that's a cop-out answer. What I would say is that I didn't buy into the idea that Czech was injured. And I'm not calling Arsene a liar, but I think he might have possibly just stretched the truth a little bit. The simple fact is, if we play last night and Ospina plays and we win 3-0, nobody says a thing, and everyone says that's is a good decision. If Czech had a slight knock, now I'm not disputing he might have had a slight knock. What I would say though is, if he's not picked, why is he on the bench? I mean, if Ospina gets clobbered in the first minute, he's going to have to play the full game. So that did strike me as a strange decision. It was also strange given that Matt Macey was on the bench when we went to Zagreb. So, if there was any doubt, it's not like he had any concerns about putting Macey on the bench there. So why would he at home? As far as the rest of the lineup goes, I mean, I agree with what Geoff said. The players have got to take a massive responsibility. The tactical side of things, that obviously falls on Arsene, and I'm pretty sure he would be the first to admit that. But some of the players that are coming in and not taking their chances, Kieran Gibbs, is a real worry for me. Really is. Just seems to be going backwards. I thought bringing Gabriel in, whilst it wasn't a surprise, and as you rightly said there, Gim, it maybe had an eye on Manchester United. I thought it was a bit odd to change 3 of the back 5 from the last league game. I thought that may have been a little bit too much. And it, obviously, in hindsight, with Koscielny now getting injured, it's kind of backfired a little bit. And I think the players that are rested, particularly like Mertesacker, obviously having to come in the game, you can't help but have the sort of mentality of, I'm being rested. So when suddenly Koscielny goes down with the injury and he has to come on, he's, I'm not saying he's not professional. Of course he is. He's a German World Cup winner, for goodness sake. But the mentality or the mindset, there's got to be a part of you that's thinking, well, I'm not really needed tonight. So it's a little bit of a feet up mentality. And I just wonder if that little bit of a lack of focus is potentially what didn't help in the concession of particularly the third goal. Third goal. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But changes are all well and good. Arsenal are not the first team to rest players ahead of a big game. They certainly won't be the last. Chelsea left out Eden Hazard yesterday, so if they'd have won, nobody would have criticised them either. So it's a real fine line. My biggest concern really would be that was a must-win game, and Arsene Wenger said as much, and we've lost it. So, it's backfired whatever way you look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you need to. Sorry, but you need. I agree totally. Like, mistakes can be made. That's something that happens but when it's a must-win game, you need to play your best players. It's like, it's so important. I listened to the goalie, Safe Hands, David. He said the same thing. A must-win game, you have to put your strongest team on the pitch. It's as simple as that. And then I agree totally. It's like, still, like this game, the way we concede goals, it's like, you can't do that on this type of level if you want to win the games.
No, it's a worry. And we discussed a couple of questions that might be fired your way before this podcast was being recorded, Rami. So I will stick with you on this one. I think the main talking point for not last night's game, for the game itself, was the decision to drop Petr Cech. Now, it's fair to say, in your time at Arsenal after the injury, that you were considered a backup keeper. Of course, you weren't bought for that. But if you were a backup keeper in the Arsenal team today, would you have expected to play against Olympiacos?
If I look at my time at Arsenal, I would have said no. I got my chance in Champions League against PSV Eindhoven at Highbury when we already went through to the second round. And I think that's a fair game to get. Like, you have nothing to play for. Then you can, you don't have to put out your best team. So no, I wouldn't have expected to play. But saying that, I always have to be prepared. I want to play every game. So, and again, Ospina has been great. I mean, it's like, I'm so sorry for him. It's a massive game. He's coming out there. He have done brilliant for us. and that happens. It's like, but I'm a little bit worried about like when you rotate, like Ospina played the Champions League and Peter Cech the rest of the games. It's like, if you remember, Real Madrid did that with Casillas. You saw he was doing so many errors at the end. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and he's so like, he has all the routine, he has everything, but it's never easy to like, I'm gonna play the Champions League and then I'm not gonna play the next game. I'm against that, to be honest. If you look at Jens Lehmann, he played everything and he did good. And the same with the goalie. He played when he was fit and it was big games. He played them, no doubt about it.
So in your situation, or the situation that David Ospina would find himself in, is it more of a case of, you know, if there's a game that comes up and I'm picked, I have to be ready, I have to be absolutely on it, and I have to take my chance? Is that how you viewed your time trying to get into the first team at Arsenal?
Yeah, of course. Every game I got, I had to prove that I wanted to play the next game. And in the start, it went well. First, I competed with Stuart Taylor to get the second spot when goalie was injured. And I took it. And then I played a few games after that as well, because the boss knew I could handle it. So you have to take the step by step. And Ospina, like I said, he has done great for us. But unfortunately, he had not the best night last night, or 2 nights ago.
I think he's been fantastic, Ospina. It's been, you know, it was quite a shame really that we got hold of Cech, because obviously Cech is going to be the first choice, but you know, Ospina had fantastic. I've said it before. He had fantastic stats for the back end of last season, you know, and it was just such a shame that, you know, it happened that way. And like Rami says, I think if he'd been playing more regularly, maybe that mistake wouldn't have happened. But you know, apparently Cech got a bit of a calf injury at Leicester. I don't know. I'm not making excuses or anything like that. But you know, if you got a big game against Manchester United, Wenger, he likes Ospina anyway. He's let him go in goal for that Olympiacos game, thinking that, well, let's make sure and save Cech for the United game. It's a big game. Ospina is capable of going in there doing a job against Olympiacos. I mean, is that fair to happen like that, Rami? You think?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like, but we don't know how bad it is with Peter Cech. And that's the thing. If it is bad, then I agree with you. Like, but still, the thing with the boss is, the good thing with him is he has so much faith and he believes in you when he puts you on the pitch. But at the other hand, like, I don't remember who of you guys said, like, if we would have won 3-0, this would have been, oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's
difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so difficult, to be honest. The only thing I don't like is, like, I don't want to have a goalkeeper playing only the Champions League games and the other one is playing the FA Cup and the Premier League. Yeah. Because that I don't believe in. Because, like I said, look at Real Madrid last year when Casillas played all the Champions League. He was, to be fair, he was really bad. Many of those games.
Yeah. Mm. I honestly do believe that if Cech was 100% fit and there wasn't any doubt in him, because again, you must have the Manchester United game in the back of your mind, and thinking that Ospina's good enough anyway. You know, I just think he thought, okay, well, let's keep Cech on the side. Let's make sure we don't necessarily need him. He's a goalkeeper. Let's put Ospina. He's going to do the job. But unfortunately, like you say, it seems to have backfired. Now, if I can ask, that actual incident with the goal, I just find it so bizarre. It was unbelievable, because back in my day, I'm in my 50s now, Rami, just in case you don't know.
Thanks for
in my day, when they had a great big heavy ball, right, goalkeepers like Pat Jennings and Jimmy Rimmer and most of the goalkeepers in the UK anyway used to come out and they'd catch the ball. Even at shots, they'd be able to catch the ball. Now, when that when that corner swung in, fantastic corner by the way, but he should have been able to deal with that. He looked like he could have caught it.
Yeah, not only that, I don't think that was the problem. I think the problem was his position. When it's an in-swinger, like it was, you need to be closer to your line. He stood so far out, so he had to go backwards.
Yeah, he seemed to come out a couple of steps, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then when he realised it was in-swinging, he's had to go back a couple of steps, and he's obviously lost his bearings.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you go backwards, he's afraid he's going to go in with the ball. So he needs to drop the ball. You understand what I'm like?
Yeah.
But if it's an outswinger, you can stand there. So it's basically, I understand that he drops the ball after, because his position was wrong. If his position would have been right, you always try to, as a goalkeeper, to attack the ball, right?
Yeah.
But this time he followed the ball.
Yeah.
And then that's why he had to drop it.
But I think he could have caught it. I watched it back, and I think I don't see, because he's nearly caught it, but he seemed to just drop it, didn't he? He dropped it deliberately rather than like it slipped out of his hands, and that's why I think he's had a hold of it and he just let it drop.
Yeah, but if he would have held it because his feet was in the goal, otherwise the ball wouldn't have gone in because he didn't drop the ball backwards, did he?
Yeah. Well, I think he's obviously dropped it in the place he is at, thinking he's obviously trying to throw it back over the line if he thinks he's over the line. You know what I mean? But he's obviously made a mistake. But it was bizarre. I can't remember ever seeing anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was a howler. Kate, I'll bring you on this. We had a bit of an argument on the night as well, didn't we? Would you like to talk the listeners through what we argued about?
No, it wasn't an argument. It was merely a disagreement. And I won anyway.
No, you didn't.
I did, because I could shout louder than you.
What was it about?
Squeak.
It's because he squeaks. Well, I was saying that, yes, I know he made mistakes. And yes, I agree he came out too far. But this was the same guy that everyone last season was calling for to be in goal. We all wanted him in goal. We all shouted for him to be in goal. And yet we bought Petr Cech at the beginning of the season, and suddenly this guy is not good enough anymore.
Who have said that?
Gets on my tits. It was all over Twitter. He shouldn't be in goal. We should have had Petr Cech. It should be our best 11. I stayed off Twitter.
Everybody do mistakes. I don't understand.
Precisely.
Exactly.
I do think from my side of that particular argument, I think a lot was made of Arsene Wenger saying that it was a must-win game. And for me, I think, Rami, you've already said tonight, in must-win games, you've got to play your strongest 11. Now, if Petr Cech is injured, personally for me, I mean, I'm never going to be able to tell you 100%, but for me, I don't think he was. Arsene Wenger said after the press conference, I don't need to justify my team selection to you, but, I'm afraid when things like that happen and we lose must-win Champions League games, then I think he should be a little bit honest with the fans. But no, it's not that I'm questioning Ospina being picked. All I'm saying is you've got to pick your best 11, and if Petr Cech is available, he's got to be picked for that match. You're telling me as a goalkeeper he couldn't play those two matches? He couldn't play Olympiacos and Manchester United? I'm not buying that, I'm afraid. I don't buy it. And I think, there's a lot of people out there that will jump on these decisions that Arsene Wenger's making, and they will make a mountain out of a molehill. And personally, I think it just adds fuel to the fire, and he just seems to bring it on himself for some reason. I don't know why that is, and people are drawing back to the Zagreb game, changing players and losing momentum, mistakes being made week on week, and
it's because people want to. It's the blame game. They want, when we have a bad result, they just want somebody to blame. And that's what I mean. People are blaming Ospina. We never lost that game just down to David Ospina's mistake. Trust me.
Oh no,
our defending was woeful. I enjoyed the game, if you get what I mean. I know it's a bit sadomasochistic, but when I watch Arsenal games, even some of the games, the exciting games that we might lose like 3-2 or something like that, I still enjoy the game, but it's very painful to watch the defeat. Do you understand what I mean? And our defending, it's just it's got to sort it. Somewhere along the line, there's got to be, per or those on the pitch, they've got to get hold of the game. We go 2-2, and it's absolutely ridiculous when 15 seconds, and they come up the field and score. It's just bad play.
Don't you think that the Olympiacos game highlighted everything that was brilliant about Arsenal and also everything that was shit about Arsenal in many ways?
Yeah, 100%. The first goal, a bog standard, old schoolboy free kick that any player that's played a decent amount of games could read what they were going to do, especially when we played at zonal marking. That the defenders are not going to they're not going to come out. They'll just stay in that zone. So that one, the ball across to the edge of the box, Ozil has meandered out there and he's turned his back again. You've got to put a player that's going to read the game and get out there and front up. Rather than, it's ridiculous. That was only the first goal, and it just went from bad to worse. After then, didn't it?
I don't think Koscielny has been convincing this season at all. It's disappointing to see him injured. I think personally, for me, Coquelin was brought back way too soon. Kris, can you highlight that one? Because I know we talked about it on the Arsenal in My Blood podcast last night, which the Welsh wonder Jason Davis was on as well. But would you like to highlight the emergence of Coquelin maybe a couple of weeks too soon?
Yeah, it's a possibility, Gim. It's definitely a possibility. I think it was almost like a needs-must situation for the manager because Mikel Arteta wasn't available, nor was Flamini. And truth be told, I don't think he trusts Aaron Ramsey in that position at the moment, particularly without somebody next to him that's going to do that destroying job, if you will. So I think he was kind of our only choice. I thought he did his role or what he was asked to do. He was his typical sort of energetic self. He put himself about. He made tackles. But he alone can't do it on his own, if you will. And I think that when you've got a player that you're that dependent on in Coquelin, it puts pressure on the lad himself. And people forget he's only a young man as well. There's an awful lot of pressure on his shoulders. And again, much like Geoff has said with Ospina, and you saying he didn't cost us that game. I don't think playing Coquelin was a reason that we lost that game either, nor do I think him being substituted was the reason. It's a whole team mentality, and if you particularly when we got back to 2-2, he kind of had it had some horrible flashbacks of Monaco last year, and that was the biggest worry for me, is that we haven't learned such basic lessons. And if you look across the whole of Europe, across all of the Champions League games and indeed the Europa League games tonight, you'll struggle to find a team that scores and concedes straight afterwards in any of the other games. Whereas we've done it, twice, 3 or 4 times in a year, it seems. And I just worry about the mentality. And again, that wonderful word of leadership. Were there enough leaders there to sort of go, look, we've got back to 2-2. We've got 25 minutes to go. Olympiacos have been defending for their lives, and they're on their asses as far as sort of game management goes. They all looked pretty knackered when we'd equalised. They got a second wind because they equalised straight from the kickoff, and then they were like, right, let's go again, and it just reinvigorated them. And Coquelin sort of playing as much as he could within that role. It's a shame that we didn't have him for the full 90, because I just wonder, I don't know whether that drive would have been missing, but to bring him back early, it's tough, isn't it?
If Coquelin was on the pitch when that third goal, it wouldn't have occurred, I don't think. Because
I agree.
If you watch it, we have 3 players that go towards the ball.
Yeah. The
young lad out on the left-hand side. And they had 2 runners coming straight up the midfield, and that's how they scored, because the ball got switched over, had a shot come out on the edge of the box, and there was two guys there. They were just standing there on their own. Terribly defending was terrible.
The one player you cannot leave with time and space, a player of Esteban Cambiaso's class and experience.
Yeah.
You cannot leave a player with that much ability. I mean, he had a good 15 yards to almost take the mick out of us and just scoop it over a whole back line who, for some reason, had all dropped onto the 6-yard line. I don't know what on earth we were thinking. It was just such it was just so naive, and for a club of our levels, and again, blame the managers, all the players. It's just a shocking goal to concede.
And the goal, even a Pearl's got to get out there quicker. He's got to throw himself at that. The lad that scored, it was a simple goal, really. He took it well. It was too easy for him, though. You've got to get amongst them. How he wasn't, you've got to get tighter. And if you can't make it, just do something to put the guy off.
And I will say as well, I don't know if you guys agree, but once Aaron Ramsey come on, I know a lot of people have criticised him this season for maybe not hitting the heights that he did the season before. But I thought he completely changed the way we played, gave us a new dimension. I thought he was. I know we lost, but he was one of our better players on the pitch. Is there anyone that would like to expand on that or say anything, Ari Ramsey? Obviously,
the Blue Boys are going to be all over him because he isn't doing the job that he was 2 seasons ago. And I think people started it with Sanchez because Sanchez 25 goals last season, first season, absolutely wonderful. If he wouldn't have scored that hat-trick, people were starting to get on his back. And now I think people need to not measure Ramsey up against the season he had where he scored 16 goals in 3/4 of a season and start realising that he's playing out of position, that he's doing a different role now. He hasn't got the free role. Sanchez has got the free role, then Ozil has got the second free role, and Ramsey doesn't have that anymore, so he's got a more disciplined job. And then you watch the Boo Boys are going to be all on Ramsey because they need him. Well, it'll be a spinner for the next few games, but he won't be playing.
But Danny, why do you think
confidence players?
Why do you think that our fans single out certain players and just give them a world of abuse?
Because a lot of them are morons that know nothing about football. They look up from their iPads and go, "Oh look, that's not going right. Oh, we lost." Oh, they took no notice of it. Or they come in 10 minutes after half time because they've been busy stuffing their face full of burgers and overpriced beer. They need to take more notice of the game. Stop talking to the people with you. Get off your phone, get off your pads and watch the bloody game and realise unless you can do better, shut up.
I think
that's what it is. It's because they can do. They've got Twitter, they've got Facebook and stuff like that, social media. In the old days, you didn't have anything like that. So you just vent at your missus or your old man or whatever. In
the old days, Geoff, I felt bad about reading the programme unless it was half time.
Yeah,
in the rain.
Very true. But nowadays, you can go on and they vent their anger straight away, and it's always just they've got to blame someone. They just blame anybody. Anyone that you think's had the worst game.
Yeah, but was it like that before? I'm wondering now. I don't want to sound like that, but at my time at Arsenal, you never heard anything kind like that. Obviously, we won a lot, and everything was happy days. But I can't remember there was anyone like that was picked on. Like now, it's like you said, it's Ramsey, it's Giroud.
To be fair, though, there weren't anyone you could really pick on. Everyone was a top class player, wasn't
they?
They
come in the crowd and
but I know what you mean, though. I do know what you mean. I get a lot of stick for it, but I think a lot of Arsenal fans that have only seen Arsenal under Arsene Wenger and seen the glory years, and then we've had this lean spell for 8 years or so. I think they've been spoiled, and they think it's like that all the time. Whereas I went a long while when I think with 18 years we went from one league to the next league. We won a few cups in between, but it's a long time. Teams do take a long time to win it back. But I think you're right.
I mean, we used to go because we loved the game, we loved football, we loved Arsenal. Now people go because a lot of people are glory hunters. And back in the days, you had Liverpool were dominant, and then you just knew you had no chance of ever beating Liverpool to anything because they were just so good, and we didn't care. But now you've got the measuring sticks of Man United, Chelsea, and Man City, and we can't compete with them off the field with the transfer money, and we're struggling to compete with them on the field. I mean, look at Man United. Who expected them to be top of the league? Who expected Chelsea? I mean, we're all moaning, but look at Chelsea. They've only won one Champions League game. They're doing terrible in the league. That team's falling apart at the seams. But I just think we just need to be a little bit more patient. That's why I don't ever rant. I mean, the last time I had a rant is when Chelsea beat us 6-0, and that was the only rant I've ever had, and I was furious at that with the players, with the manager, with everything.
United away then.
Well, what, the 8-2?
Yeah.
That was just comical, and that we didn't even have a best team out. That was I think that's where Coquelin made his debut. I think we had a load.
We had Carl Jenkinson at right back, didn't we, for that game?
But I'm very apathetic the whole time because not only have I seen it all, I'm just happy that we're playing at the top, and it's unfair. It's like having a Formula One team with a car with 3 wheels most of the time because you can't compete with the rest of them. And the fact that we are probably at the moment the second or third best team in the league. And I think we just need to relax a little bit and support the team a bit more. But it's an instant gratification society we live in, and everything we want it now and we want it the best. And if we can't have it, we're going to shout and scream. And I think that sums up not all Arsenal fans, but a lot of Arsenal fans who are new to the game.
I have to say, what made me laugh, Geoff, I was reading one of your conversations that you had last night, and I'm not going to say the geezer's name, but it made me one of the comments that were made around that conversation that you were having was from a girl called the Goonerette, who you might know some of
Sardia.
you. It's called Sardia, yeah.
Hello, Sardia.
Absolutely fantastic. And the bloke was basically saying to you that he doesn't have any need to go to the Emirates anymore. He's going to boycott going to the ground and buying merchandise while Arsene Wenger is in charge. And then Sardia questioned...
He's not going to spend another penny on Arsenal until Arsene Wenger goes, and he's not going to go to the games anymore or anything like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what he said. And Sardia came back and she gave a quite wonderful response. She asked, when was the last time he'd gone to the Emirates, and also said that isn't it more of a case of supporting the team rather than supporting the manager? And surely nobody goes to support the manager. We're all there for Arsenal, aren't we?
Well, that's what I said to him. My immediate response to that was, it's Arsenal FC, not Arsenal FC. You should go and support your team, whoever the manager. I don't care who manages us. I'll still be an Arsenal supporter.
Yeah, exactly. And from what I see, Geoff, I disagree with some of what you say, but 99% of it is straight down the line. And if we fucked up, you call it. Which you can't really say any more than that. I will move on in terms of Champions League itself then. And with that loss, we've left ourselves a mountain to climb. Kate, do you think we can still qualify? I mean, we've got back-to-back against Bayern Munich coming up next.
Yeah, but if you remember when I was at Arsenal 2003, 2004, we had 1 point after 3 games. We had Dynamo Kiev, CS, Lokomotiv Moscow, and Inter. And we had 1 point. We drew, I think, against Lokomotiv Moscow. And
is that when Inter done us 3-0 or something at home?
Yeah,
with
3-0.
What was his name? The goal scorer?
Martins.
Obafemi Martins.
Obafemi Martins.
And
Yes.
Van der Meijden as well.
Andy van der Meijden.
Yeah.
Remy, he was supposed to be 19 at the time. I reckon he was about 32. What do you reckon?
The rest.
Yeah, maybe that. And that's when we won against Inter 5-1 away.
Yeah, Henri, brilliant.
Yeah, and if you remember, Ashley Cole scored in the 4th game against Moscow at home. We had 0-0,
diving
and
header.
Ashley Cole scored in the 88th,
right.
I think, a header.
Yeah.
So everybody thought we were out. And we turned it around. So I hope we can do it this year as well.
Yeah, no, definitely so. I mean, you've got to be a little bit positive. I will go through all of you now and just a one-word answer. Yes or no, can we qualify for the knockout stages of the Champions League, Kate?
Never say never.
That's not one word, is it?
No, but I like to be different.
Okay, fair enough. I can't disagree with you, otherwise you won't cook my dinner.
Already done
Danny?
it.
I know, but tomorrow.
Hell no. We've no.
Okay, no, fair enough. Rami?
We're not going to beat Bayern home or away or even draw against them. That's 4 games, no points, job done. We're going to have to move this to a Wednesday night.
All I'm going to say is Lewandowski against Arsenal's defence
10 goals.
says that. Wow, I'm saying nothing. That's all I'm saying. Kris?
Yes, absolutely, 100% we can.
Geoff?
Of course we can. I don't understand how people want to give it up, wave the white flag after just 2 defeats. Like Rami said, we had 1 point in 3 last time. I don't see us any problem with we could get 3 points off of Bayern Munich. It's going to be really hard. Don't get me wrong, but we can beat Bayern Munich. We've done it twice before. Why not? And if we get 9 points, we can qualify. It's been done before.
I was just going to go Park 5. You sounded like the old boy then. We're beaten Bayern Munich. We've done it twice before. Park 5.
Someone will clip that, no doubt. That'll appear somewhere.
Yeah, love it. I absolutely love it. So the next question that I really want to ask, and Rami, I'll head
Did
this.
you ask Rami if we'd make it through?
Yeah,
I think we do.
See?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
I'm too busy laughing at Celtic beating Fenerbahce 2-0 as Van Persie was stood on the goal line as the ball went past him. Oh, great times.
Rami, why do you think we failed to compete in the Champions League for a while now? I mean, again, this is another topic we touched on the Arsenal and My Blood podcast last night, but I asked, when was the last time that you walked away from a Champions League game saying, that was a good game? I can hear the cogs turning.
Yeah. I don't remember, to be fair. I think
it
it was against the Turkish team away.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, I think
was that? But even that was that what? It was Danny Welbeck hat trick. Am I right?
Could be.
Is there anyone else that can elaborate on that then? Because it doesn't seem like we've had many glory nights in the Champions League, or is that me just being, a little bit bitter?
Well, other than the odd Bayern win when they'd given up.
And Barcelona, we had a fantastic win that night against Barcelona, didn't we?
We were cheated if they wouldn't have sent Van Persie off.
Yeah, no, I mean the home game. The home game was
Rami Shaaban.
2-1.
Yeah, true.
But it's difficult in the Champions League, isn't it? It's a different type of football, so to speak. You're not really up to speed on all them teams that you're playing against. It's difficult, and everyone comes to Arsenal. Arsenal's a big club. It's a massive stadium. They get up for it, don't they?
Do you think it's a competition he still takes seriously, Geoff?
Of course it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? No doubt in his mind, I think he might go for one trophy. He earmarks one trophy that he's going to put everything on, and then obviously works them down. But the Champions League's a massive trophy. You know what? I think he would most probably want to win the league sooner than the Champions League, but he wouldn't put a weaker team out in the Champions League if we got a chance of winning it. No way in the world. He'd still want to win it.
Might still get a chance of winning the Europa. You never know. Yes.
6 Champions League wins in the last 15 Champions League games, of which 3 of them were home wins, and one of them against the Monaco that went. All we have to do is not lose too much.
That's
good. And that goes all the way back to December 2013, so it's quite a long time.
I mean, I think the possibility of Europa League football, it's looking at...
Our last 3 defeats in the Champions League, which are Olympiacos, Monaco and Anderlecht, isn't it? Or Zagreb. Yeah, our last 4. You look at them 4 teams, and they're 4 teams that we should be beating quite comfortably.
So maybe you've got to ask the question why. Kate, I want to move on to you now, and it's a question that I am going to ask to all of you. If we lose against Bayern Munich, then surely you've got to say all possible chances of progressing from that group, or it becomes very, very difficult. Do you want Europa League football, or would you rather chuck in the towel and concentrate on the league?
I don't want Europa League. I don't want to go to South Europe or North Europe or wherever.
Slavia Bolakov.
Yeah, on a cold, wet Thursday evening and have to play at stupid times and then play again on a Saturday. It's not what any football fan wants, really, is it? But I was actually having this discussion with a guy I work with who's actually a Liverpool fan, so I have the piss taken every time Arsenal lose. But he actually made a very good point, because I said that we were talking and said lose all the rest of our group matches, finish bottom of the table, go out of Europe completely, would be a better prospect than having to go to Europe and play in the Europa. And he made a very good point about the fact of FIFA taking away our 4th place Champions League qualifying. So if we do that and we can't go on to win Europa and England lose the 4th place, we're not guaranteed Champions League next year anyway. So it's one of those toss of a coin things, isn't it?
I've done a little thing on that game if you want.
Yeah,
to.
no, let's hear it.
And the way it works is in the qualifying and playoff rounds in the both European competitions, you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. But in the playoff and qualifying, you only get half points. And so we had, and then what you do, so if we had, then you get all the points that are added up, and then you divide them by the number of teams that are playing in that competition. And so at the end of last season, England had 65 points. Italy had 61 points, so we were 4 points ahead of them. Up to last night, because plus you get 4 points for every team that gets through to the quarterfinal, and another 4 points for every team that gets through to the last 16. And so this season so far, England have got 48 points. Divide that by the 8 teams, means we've got 6. And Italy have got 33.5 points. Divide that by 7, because that's how many teams they've got in. Because Sampdoria and Lazio are out, then Lazio go through to the UEFA Cup. That means they've got 4.7 points. So we've taken our gap of being 5 points ahead of Italy to being 5. Was it 5? No, 4 points ahead to now being 5.5 points ahead.
Wow.
So I've been moaning about going, oh, there you go, next season we're going to be out of it. But then tonight Lazio won, so that's another 2 points they're going to get. And then what other Italian teams are playing? Fiorentina won, so that's 4 points. And then I think they've got one other team playing in it tonight, and I can't see who they are.
Napoli.
So when you add up,
Napoli.
And what was their score?
0-0 at half time against Legia Warsaw.
As it stands, that'd be 5 more points for Italy. Then you divide that by 7. So, yeah, as it stands, we're doing better than they are, because although we've got 4 teams in the Champions League, they've only got 2. So we're all scoring. Well, Arsenal aren't scoring points, but we got them 4 points by being in the group stage, and we've got 2 teams in the UEFA Cup, and they've only got 3. So the odds are that when I thought that they're going to overtake us, it looks like they won't overtake us. But it depends on how many teams get through to the last 16, because at this rate, it looks like Arsenal and Chelsea won't get through, or may not get through, and it looks like Roma might not do, but Juventus will do.
I still think there's a good chance of 1 or even 2 British clubs, English clubs, I beg your pardon, in the quarters and semis. I don't see no reason why not. They'll get it right.
Put some money on that. Chris can put £1 on it.
Whole pound.
I've given everybody 5 billion to 1 that Arsenal.
He's got no money left. He's too busy. He's broke from bribing the referee on a Saturday or a
He pays him in doubloons.
True that.
Rum.
Yes. Right then, we'll draw a line under that. And Danny, it's over to you for some Twitter questions.
Jolly good. I'm just updating. Didn't read out the stats, did I, from the games at the weekend?
No.
Against Olympiacos, we had 62% possession, 87% pass success rate, 18 shots on goal compared to their 9. And then on target, we had 9, they had 4. And heard Wenger complaining they had 4 shots on goal and 3 of them went in. Corners doesn't matter. Touches, 861 touches, which is quite a lot. And we had 566 passes out of 653. And they beat us 23-22 on tackles. But the Leicester game doesn't really matter because we hammered them there. But that was our second best shots on target of the season with 27 shots, 12 on target. So there you go. I'm just updating that. So I'll give you some more boring information that no one cares about next time we do one. Do we want questions to Rami or do we want questions to everybody in general?
Let's start with some questions to Rami. I tell you what, Danny, you decide. You mix it up a little bit.
Oh,
you take the reins.
Okay, I'll start with one to Rami. I'll go from one to the other. This is from Dawson, who is at Dawson FM. I don't know if he's his own radio station or he's a football manager. Either way, to Rami, do you think Wenger will sign a new contract when his current one expires?
When is it expiring?
2 years. I think.
2 years.
Yeah, the end of next season.
I think it depends on how it goes these 2 seasons.
Would you want him to sign a new contract if it continues the way it is?
It's so difficult to say. He's been 19 years yesterday, right?
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, 19 years.
No, what about November? No, it's October, isn't it?
It was. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah,
it's who's available at the time. Big key.
Yeah, I agree with you. It depends a little bit how everything looks into. It's very difficult to say. 2 years in football is so long time.
So if you had a choice, Rami, who would you pick as if you had any say in his successor, which I doubt very much they'll ask you, but you never know. You might win the Swedish lottery, buy the club and run it properly.
Yeah, why not? Klopp.
Huh?
Klopp. Jurgen
Shut up,
Klopp.
Kris. Don't start. Kris thinks he's terrible and he's not.
I didn't think he's terrible, Danny.
He said he was a failure at Dortmund, and even though he won
I
2
didn't
titles,
say he
2
was
cups,
a failure. I said he failed. There's a difference.
Failed. God, no wonder you're never happy. Okay, right. This question from Siddharth Hazarika, who is not Japanese apparently, because Raj told me off about that. He says, "Can fans and stroke AST, that's Arsenal Share Trust, is it? Supporters Trust?
Arsenal Supporters Trust, yes.
Oh, there you go. I got 66% of that right. Can they put enough pressure on Kroenke to leave? Clearly, this ownership isn't working." Oh, go on, Geoff.
No chance.
No, I agree.
Does anybody think he can get rid of him?
No.
It's only if they sniper him.
And you've only got one bullet, Kim, and he ain't anywhere in sight.
And he hasn't got frizzy hair.
And he just keeps milking it for £3 million for doing bugger all while all the rest of the board get paid nothing. I don't know. If Mr. Fife, you're probably nodding or disagreeing. I don't know because I'm not psychic. Okay. From Paul W. "I've become very worried and weary about the split in the fan base. Is it retrievable or has it gone to a point of no return?" And I go, Kate, then Kris.
I don't think it's gone beyond return. I think people are just, their passions are running high. That's the one thing I love about, one of the things I love about Arsenal fans. We're very passionate about our club. And when things aren't going right, things get heated. People say stupid stuff. I mean, like the guy Geoff was talking to last night, not going to the Emirates anymore. But you know what? The one thing that does bring us all back together is the fact that we all share that love for this one team. And do you know what? When things start going well, the fans will all get back together and everyone will be happy and jolly and running around holding hands and drinking mead.
I think you should say as well that the guy that said that he wasn't going to buy any more Arsenal merchandise or go to the ground anymore was wearing this season's shirt. So
I persuaded him to get a West Ham season ticket.
I saw your pictures of Alf Garnett, Geoff.
I persuaded him. He's going to get a West Ham season ticket. I said, "Well, go down there, see if you like Slaven Bilic's type of football, and have pie and mash, jellied eels."
Danny Dyer.
In a stadium they ain't going to pay for.
Yeah, Olympic Stadium. We'll enjoy it there. He's going to do it and all, which is surprising.
I like Danny Dyer, but I wouldn't be a West Ham fan.
Oh, I don't think you get any choice, do you? You're born into it. Kris, what was your answer to that? And mention about what we had on the radio show the other night about a bloke who said he doesn't go anymore. He goes and sees Hertha Berlin because it's cheaper and better.
Yeah, I think it was. Was it John was saying? I think it was John Welsh was saying that he has a friend who doesn't go anymore because it's very, very expensive, and rather than sitting in the stands moaning, he's put his money into Hertha Berlin. He's got a season ticket over there, and he flies over for the home games, and he enjoys it, and he has a bloody good weekend. And I'm all for that. It's a really, really sensitive area because I'm fully aware that ticket prices and costs of things and fans' opinions is a really touchy subject. I personally am of the belief that I would never waste money just to go to a football stadium to shout abuse at a manager or to shout abuse at a players. To me, that is just nonsensical. I cannot get my head around it. And I know people will say, "Oh, we don't do that. We've got a right to our opinion." I've been at the ground. I know for a fact some people go literally just to get their point across. And I just don't understand that. If you want to do that, stand in the street, get a piece of cardboard and write a doodle on it and shout, because that's the equivalent. I'm not against I'm not against people going to games and having frustration. We all go through that. I've said things I probably regret. I know Danny did to Dennis once.
But I also did to Glenn Helder by accident.
But he doesn't regret it. He actually says that
turned
was
his career around.
Turned his career around. Yeah.
And he got a podcast named after him. What else did he want?
I'm sure he'll mention you in his next book. But
the divide, Kris, the divide. Do you think that we'll ever be united again?
I think we probably will, Geoff, but in the world of social media, I'm not sure how long it will last. I think we'll all be united when Arsene decides to move on, because basically then the anti-Wengers will have nothing to say and the pro-Wengers will have nothing to say, because we'll have to be united then. But sadly, as soon as we are united, something else will probably crop up and then we'll be ununited again. So I want to believe so, but I'm not sure. If I'm honest.
I think they're so far gone.
Yeah.
With all this Wenger out, I think that honestly they would. They've obviously had enough of him, and I can understand that. I do understand people. Everyone's different. We're not all made the same. Like I said, I'd still go over Arsenal if we was in the Conference League. I enjoy watching football, and even like I said to you before, the defeats. Although I still enjoy the game, but I just don't like the result. It's a little bit painful to watch, but I still enjoy the football, and I'd always be like that. I don't understand how people could just, I've had a couple of people that would rather us not qualify for the Champions League in order that Arsene Wenger would either step down or get the sack. Now, I cannot get my head around that.
Yeah, but that's I agree with you 100%. That's, again, either you need to support the team. It's not, you don't support a manager.
Exactly.
So I don't get that, to be honest. It's
but that's why I think we're so divided now. Even if Wenger won the Champions League, I still don't think there's still people that say, "Listen, I've had enough of him. I don't care. I want him to go."
Can I ask you a question, Geoff, just quickly?
Far away.
On the Arsenal thing, I've got a theory, and I might be completely wrong, but I'm intrigued by your views on it. Do you think that Arsene potentially signed his last contract because, being a man who clearly loves the club and being a man who, he's got so much invested in Arsenal, it's part of almost his life now. Do you think that the reason that he signed his last contract and the reason that he will stay possibly beyond this current contract is because that he doesn't believe there's somebody better than him to do the job he's doing out there at the moment, whether that be arrogance or not? Do you think that has any bearing on it?
Absolutely no bearing at all. I believed he signed a new contract because he thinks he's the best man to take us forward and do the job. And I honestly believe that as well.
And I agree.
Here's a question for you then, Rami. If Arsenal did get knocked out of the Champions League and we didn't do the UEFA Cup, and next season we're not in the UEFA Cup or in the Champions League, you remember a couple of years ago Liverpool had a fantastic run at the league because they weren't in European competition. Do you think that if the players stayed, then we would have a good run at the league, or would you rather keep trying at the Champions League? I know it's a bit of a long shot because it's 2 seasons' time, but still interesting to see what you think.
Can you take that again?
A couple of years ago, Liverpool had a fantastic run in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They didn't play in they didn't have any European competition to worry about. Could you see us making a good run in a couple of years' time if we're not in the Champions League because either the Champions League is down to only 3 English teams, or we don't qualify for it, or something like that?
I think, sure, we could make a good run, but I don't want it to be that way. I mean, the Champions League is like, you want to be in the best league, play the best cups. You want to play Champions League. I wouldn't change it.
I don't get it because they want us to go out of the Champions League, so Wenger leaves. But what manager of that ilk, so to speak, would want to come to a team? I know, of course, we're Arsenal and everything else, but there's other teams out there as well that are as big as Arsenal now. You're expecting a manager to come, right, and fight for us to get back in. But not only that, you're talking about a team that is out of the Champions League, so the players, they're not going to necessarily want to come. And the players that you have got, they might want to leave.
Yeah. Do you get bored with watching Champions League games, though, Geoff? Do you prefer Champions League or Premier League games?
I could watch any football.
No, if you had to be, I mean, personally, I don't care.
I love the Premier League. I love the Premier League, but I know there's something about it. Might only be me, right? There's something about those midweek nights under lights at the Emirates or at Highbury or wherever it is. Even away, I go when we get into the later stages. When I say the knockouts, I went to Monaco, last year. I'll go them games. When we get out of the groups, we go to the next stage. I'll go all the games. Now it's a different feeling about it. And I've always had it, even in the Cup Winners' Cup games and stuff like that, years gone by. There's something different about it. There's a different feel about it, and I'd really enjoy it.
Saying that, Rami, do you think the Champions League would be better if it went back to 1 or 2-legged games rather than having group stages? Because for me, the Champions League is just so boring when you're playing. Some of the games mean nothing until you get to the last few. Because I remember a few years ago, I don't know if people listening remember, but we had 2 lots of group games, and for me,
I was at the club at that time.
Oh, it's horrendous. Which would you prefer, the group stages or having 2 legs and then the winner goes through? Because Geoff was just saying that he likes to go to the next after the group stage because it's better.
I think I like it when it's more to play for.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, I think it's because if you look at football in Europe, it's good for the smaller teams. Like we have a team now from Malmö playing in the Champions League, lost to Real Madrid yesterday. They would never have like the whole club. The money they have got now is like fantastic. And I think if you have a knockout stage, it's over and out for all the small teams.
Do you think it's long, Rami, before we see a super European league with, Juventus, Madrid, Barcelona, all the top teams, Arsenal, United?
Yeah, I think so.
Eventually, 10 years, 15 years, maybe. Don't we have a Super League?
Yeah, I think it's gonna take more than that because I think it's more politics than anything else in it.
Right, Gim.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Okay. One for Gimli, I was just thinking about going along. This isn't a question someone's written down. I was just thinking, another thing that annoys me, anyone can answer this, but I'll start with Gimli. Another thing that annoys me about the Champions League is that after the first 4 games, because Bayern, realistically, are going to beat us home and away. That means they've won the first 4 games. They're through to the next round as winners. That means their next 2 games against Olympiacos and Dynamo Zagreb, they're going to play weakened teams, which helps them get through more points than us, doesn't it, Gimli? So how much trouble are we going to be in if they do beat us home and away? Because then they're going to play weakened teams. Because like every time we play Olympiacos, we beat them in the home leg, because that's usually early on in the group. And then when we've gone, I think 3 times in a row, we've played Olympiacos last in the group, and then we've gone there, put a weakened team, and then they've beaten us.
But I think even with Bayern Munich playing a weakened team, they're still a hell of a strong team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Then Kris, you said last night they played some youngster, and he had an absolute he had a game and a half, didn't he?
They played Kimmich and they played Kingsley Coman, who are both, what you'd call, they're both very talented young players, but it's probably the equivalent to us playing
Geoff?
Adelaide?
Geoff, probably Geoff, and maybe a Christian Bielik type character. I mean, the thing is that they're on a different level. I mean, when you've got players around them of the caliber of what Bayern Munich have, you can afford to play 1 or 2. I don't think we're in the same position squad-wise, to be honest.
Didn't Kingsley Coman came from Juventus this summer, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that. People like him are the example when people say, "Oh, there was nobody out there of quality," and I'm as much on that bandwagon as anyone.
Hasn't he got ginger hair? But
he's a gentleman of colour, yes. But
he looks like
in
Pogba.
case Drew's listening, I was trying to use the right word.
He does have a dyed blonde hair, but yeah, but
he's like a poor man's Pogba.
He's a huge talent, though. Massive talent. And they've got him on a loan deal. He's not even Bayern Munich's player. He's on a loan deal with a view to, I think it's a €2 million loan deal with a view to a €9 million transfer, which is peanuts. And this kid has got, he's got bags of talent. He's kind of like Ng, who's gone to Spurs, but obviously 10 times better and has a prospect at a career in front of him.
You got any wise words on this, Kate? Are you worried?
No.
From confidence or apathy?
Do you know, I feel
sounds like.
I feel confident till we go out on the pitch and go 1-0 down, and then it's kind of like so deflating. I hate working on a day when Arsenal play, because then I have to spend the rest of the day in a grumpy arse mood, and everyone takes the piss.
Oh dear, you should maybe put in a claim for compensation.
I should.
Where there's blame, there's a claim.
Psychological compensation.
Mr. Vega, pay the lady.
Okay, right. Another question for Rami. This is from Pixel Rapture. No, I don't even know what that means, but he did the listeners' prediction for the week for the Olympiacos game. We got it hideously wrong. So listeners, find him. Is at Pixel Rapture. Give him some grief because he lost you points because he didn't predict we were going to lose. All right, Shami. He says, what advice would Rami Shaaban give to David Ospina?
You do realise his name is Rami Shaaban. Danny, you've murdered his name, and he is actually there on the podcast. This isn't just someone...
Rami?
Yeah, but like I said, I'm used to it, so it's no worries.
On your Twitter, doesn't your Twitter say Shaaban Rami?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm reading
not
it.
Shammy.
When did I...
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I
if I'm reading
apologise
fine.
on behalf of the fat man.
He has put, rather than putting Rami in there, he has put his at. So I've read it as Shaaban Rami. Or did I say Rami
No,
Shaaban?
you said Shami Raban.
Yeah, yeah.
At least I didn't call Rafi Rami last week, did I? Like Jason did.
Come on, sweet Danny.
So what was the question again? I forgot it.
What advice would you give to Mr. Ospina after his recent run of bad form?
It's all up to him. I mean, I know the boss and everybody in the club will be supporting him. I am 100% confident of that. But it's all up to him. I mean, it's so different. Like some people bounce back really quick, and I hope he does because he's a great goalkeeper. My advice is not to read the papers.
Okay, good. I don't think any of us do read the papers anymore. All right, another one. I'll give this one to Rami as well. From Bradley Smith, who is at Bradley 1310 2895. So I think he may be from the year 2895. So he's in the future. If you are in the future, Bradley, let us know how we get on. He says, do you think Wenger will play Ospina against Bayern Munich?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think he will play him at all in the Champions League?
I think he will protect him now for a while. Because next time he plays, it's going to be massive for him.
Okay.
I hope so.
Me and Kris have been big fans of him.
Yeah.
I think most people like him, but we know he's a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I said, I like him a lot. He has done great for us. And but you have to be really smart now and listen to him and the boss. You need to now. The boss has a big responsibility here to see but it might be like the best thing for him is I want to play, I want to show again, so it's a lot to the boss now to predict how will he do.
Remember in the summer there was lots of talk of Ospina maybe going off to Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. Do you think maybe the way that Wenger kept it at Arsenal was to say you'll be my Champions League goalkeeper?
I think there was something that actually there, Danny, that he has actually promised him game time. I think that's what it was. There was something that came out about that a couple of weeks back, or maybe it was before the Tottenham game, and he basically said that he had offered him the game time and to play wherever, and that's why he was going to stay. Otherwise, I think he probably would have gone.
While I have your ear, Mr. Gimli, here is one for you and me to make a decision on from our old mate Pally, who is PALLY_11, who unfollowed me today. Thank you very much, but I'll still read your question. If we end up in the Europa, you're going to change the podcast from a Thursday?
Oh, should we? It's always been a Thursday, and I don't like Europa League football anyway.
We could do the podcast like now and watching Fenerbahce Celtic. We could do it watching us lose to Karabag or some other team.
Yeah.
So we can't do a Friday because I have my mates over.
It's not going to happen anyway.
Isn't it?
No.
We're either going to be out of it or get through.
No, we'll get through.
Yeah.
Will we?
Yep.
True.
Okay.
Probably on goal difference, it'll be that tight.
We'll get through.
Okay. This will be. I'll put this one to Kate and then Kris. This is from Rob. Simply at RobJC. That's what I like, short at names. If we end up out of the Champions League, would you rather we end up third and in the Europa League or come fourth so we can concentrate on the league? So I'll go Kris then Kate so Kate can think of a good answer.
So would we rather... You went a bit quiet, was it? Would I rather we finish fourth?
Yeah.
You went a bit quiet, so
Did
I got half of it. And then
I'm rocking because I need a wee. Would you rather us finish third and get in the Europa League or fourth, and so we can concentrate on the Premier League? And then after that, Kate.
Yeah, well, as Geoff said, I don't think we'll have to worry about Europa League if I'm honest. So it's a bit of a moot point. But I would always rather. I don't want any part of the Europa League. Full stop. So league position obviously is important. I think we'll finish third anyway, if not higher. So I guess I'm probably the worst person to ask that question, but I don't think we'll have to worry about the Europa League. And even if we did, I'd rather we were just not any part of it. And if we do by some amazing thing end up in it, then for me, please play the kids or the reserve players because it hasn't got any credibility. And just putting a Champions League space on the end of it, to me, it doesn't change the credibility of the competition, and it changes all our fixtures to a Sunday, of course, as well, which is really annoying.
I think you and Geoff should do a dare that if we do end up in the WAFA Cup, that you have to streak up and down.
No, I
Highbury
think
Hill.
Danny, nobody needs to see that.
No, seriously, if we end up in the Europa League, Kris, you've got to shave your head.
Absolutely no chance.
God,
just for Rami's benefit, Rami, I have shoulder length hair, which is the reason why they keep mentioning my hair.
condition.
You can see the picture, I should imagine, Kris.
I don't know if it's one of my better pictures actually, but yeah.
Really
Not
like
like mine.
Is that
My
the one you
pictures-
cropped, Chris?
No, not that one. Okay, thank
You
you.
only need a bird on your shoulder, and you've got the outfit made up there,
And an eye patch.
and an eye patch. Yeah, correct.
Okay, well, I forgot. Oh, Kate, you were going to answer it.
I
I know
probably
you've forgotten now.
Probably,
Oh, yeah.
I have forgotten the question, kind of. I probably agree with Chris, actually. I don't really want to go to the Europa, but I always want Arsenal to play the best and to win their matches. So I can't wish for them to go out and lose all the rest of the matches and whatnot, because I always want us to win. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go to Europa League. Oh.
No, like we'll get all the way through to the final and lose to Galatasaray on penalties. One for the old days.
Yeah, Fenerbahce have equalised now as well.
I know, I'm watching it.
Shit.
Right. Rami, would you like one on Santi Cazorla this season?
Sure.
Okay. This is from Mohammed 4, who is... Oh, this is an even better at. His at is M0E. That's 3 letters. I wish some of you would get 3 letters. Don't say anything. Right,
Shamir.
You're such a
don't,
dick.
my
Rashad.
brain is now telling me every time I say it, don't say Shammy. Right, Rami.
Yes.
Should we be concerned over Santi's role over the course of the coming season? I think he's implying that Santi hasn't been very good.
I think he's a top player. I like him. To be fair, he was captain, and I think he. The thing is, I want everybody to step up a bit, but I don't see Santi Cazorla as a leader in the team. I see him more like I would like to see him like lift the team. I'm thinking of the old squad again, like Edu, for example. I would love to have a squad that you can rotate a little bit more without feeling you get weak. And so I would like him to be in the squad. He has a great touch, and when he's in the mood, he's fantastic.
Listen, do you want to ask him a question, Chris? I wasn't just Chris. Oh my God, I'm giving up. I'm going away.
Cress and Shammy.
Making Chris.
Christian
Oh,
Crash. He sounds like a
dear.
manager of Basel or someone.
Rami, it's been wonderful to have you with us. We know you won't come back
Yeah, sure.
after we've
Thanks.
insulted you.
No, Rami
Danny.
will come back, but Shami won't.
Danny, thanks for the memories, but it's time to go.
Yes, I know.
I've got two questions for you, Rami, if I may, for me personally.
sure.
The first one, you've kind of briefly touched on already, but I just wanted to ask your opinion. If you were playing in the modern day, as we currently are with the likes of Twitter and Facebook, social media, would you read things if you had a game like, for example, Ospina had last night, or if you made a mistake? Would you actively look for people's opinions, or was it something as a professional you would always avoid?
No, I would have avoided. But to be fair, if you know you had a good game, I would have read it.
Yeah.
And that's a fair, it's an honest answer. I
love
think
the
a lot of
honesty.
people say that, yeah, I never read stuff. But if you know you had a good game, I know you will read it because it will boost you, not your ego, but your confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My other question, this is probably more relevant to the current day with the current squad. When you were at Arsenal, am I right in saying your last season you had Bob Wilson as a goalkeeper coach? Was it for your last season? Was that right?
No, my last season was Jerry Payton.
Ah, right. So he had left the club by the time you got there.
No, I had Bob the first year.
Oh, the first year. Okay, my
Yeah.
apologies. Got it wrong again. See, that's why Danny's good at this. My question to you is, a lot of people, you bring up Jerry Payton there, a lot of people, Arsenal fans have long said that there's an issue with the goalkeeping coaching at Arsenal.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know from your point of view as a professional goalkeeper, how important is a goalkeeping coach and what do they do with you on a day-to-day basis that makes them so important?
It's a really good question. Your goalkeeping coach should be your confident zone. He should lift you up. And I think Jerry Payton, his exercises were good, but I think his social skill was not as good. Bob Wilson was very humble. I loved him. He was fantastic. He looked at me, even if I played the games or was on the bench, he looked at me the same way. And that's what I'm talking about, social skills. And I think I heard a lot of people as well talk about things. I remember Jens and Almunia when I left. They had problems. And I think that's when you have problems, it's more important you have a goalkeeping coach that is honest. And like I said, your confidence zone. You should be able to go to him and talk to him about everything.
Yeah, and as a very brief side question to that, it's just made me think. When you were in training, how much work does Arsene Wenger do, or how much does he observe the goalkeepers when they're in coaching? Was it fully down to Jerry Payton to do the workouts with you, and Arsene would just drop in here and there, or was there periods of time where he would watch the sessions?
He very rare watched the sessions. Sometimes he came over and watched. Absolutely, he did, and I liked it, to be honest. It gave another level of the exercise, but he never interfered in the sessions. I mean, he would never come in and say, "Yeah, do that," and that. He would never do that. But sometimes he was there and watched it. He did when the other guys had a warm up or something.
Comes back to that putting faith in the people he employs, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, rather. Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. Thank you for those answers. Danny?
Rami, would you ever go into being a coach? Because I know people often wonder why David Seaman, one of the greatest ever Arsenal and England goalkeepers, isn't a coach. And we were told, or someone told me, that it's because you have to do your outfield licenses first before you're allowed to do your goalkeeping UEFA licenses. Is that something you'd consider, or have you done it?
I haven't done it, and at the moment I'm not. I don't have the energy, to be honest, to do it. I have got questions about it, and I was a goalkeeping coach at my former team for a year. Not the main assistant goalkeeping coach. Our goalkeeping coach as well had the women's national team. So when he was away with them, like in the Olympics or national team games, I was the goalkeeping coach. I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't do it like I would at the moment. I don't know how I will feel in 1-2 years' time, or if I go to a big club. But here in Sweden, it's very difficult because, first of all, it takes a lot of time, and it takes actually more time than to be playing. Like my goalkeeping coach here in Sweden, he was a constructor as well. So it's very difficult to live on a salary in Sweden, only to be a goalkeeping coach.
Oh, okay. What team were you goalkeeping coach with then?
Hammarby, my last team.
Your last club.
Yeah, my last club. Yeah.
All right. So what are you doing with the time at the moment? Are you just relaxing after having a long career? Because you only left Hammarby in 2012, didn't you, when you retired?
Yeah, I did. No, I actually started a company with we're 5 guys investing money, clients. We have national team players here in Sweden. We have they want us to invest money, And I'm working towards the football players. Then I have another friend of mine who played in NHL ice hockey for 11 years. He's towards the hockey players. So we have 2 funds that we invest in. And then we as well invest in unlisted companies that is not on the stock market.
Oh.
Forgive me for jumping in, Danny, but Rami, how many, if any, I can't remember if you answered this on the last podcast, but how many of the current squad or the squad you played with, how many do you keep in touch with on a sort of semi-regular basis now?
At Arsenal?
Yeah.
It depends, actually. Last time, I think I said it in the last podcast, I don't remember. But Pires I had some contact with. I see him training at the training ground as well sometimes.
What a player.
Yeah, fantastic. And a fantastic person as well. Freddie was a long time ago now, actually. I missed his wedding. I was invited, but I missed it, unfortunately. Is there, sometimes on Twitter with Gilberto Silva.
Oh, legend.
Yeah,
Legend.
I see Gilberto on Twitter, that's right.
Say again?
I do see Gilberto on Twitter.
Yeah.
I see his tweets and it, you know.
Yeah, I asked him on the other week.
He writes in Spanish, so I don't understand anything.
No, nor me. But I do see him. I follow him and his name appears.
Yeah.
I see him talking to people, but I have no idea what he says.
Me neither. No, we had a little bit of a special bond in the beginning because we both came at the same time to the club. So we stayed together at Sopwell House. And it was so funny because he couldn't a word English and I couldn't, not a word of Spanish or Portuguese, sorry. And we had dinners every night almost. But we were, it was so hilarious.
It must have been. Well, you just didn't talk, or you tried to.
Yeah, we tried to, and it
Took
was
you
like
2 hours to get one conversation out.
Yeah, and it was like 2 kids, you know, because they can communicate like with hands and everything, but it was so hilarious, so
Fantastic.
funny. Yeah.
We've got loads more questions, Gimli, but we're running out of time, so
We
I
are.
can have it now.
Take them next time then.
Yes, hopefully, Rami, you'll join us in the second half of the season, some point after Christmas. You're an absolute gentleman from start to finish. The moment I asked you, literally, you came back to me within half an hour.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Yeah, I've said to the guys what a gent you are, and the people that listen to this said that they enjoyed the podcast that you were on last time so much. So if you'd love to come back, we'd love to have you.
Sure, no problems. No problem.
Right then, that being the end of the Twitter questions, we have some ABW announcements. And
Drum roll, please.
yes, first of all, I'd like to go to Kate.
If she's still there.
Kate's gone.
Oh no, I was muted. Sorry. You come to me when I'm not ready, but yes, we, as many of you may know, we put out a tweet 2 weeks ago. Was it now?
Yes.
Saying that we were looking for 2 new people to join our bloggers group, and I'm pleased to say that due to a joint decision with all of our existing bloggers, who are an amazing team and put out some amazing blogs. If you've not read them, please do go and give them a blog. Goonaholic put up a guest blog for us today, and it's a great read, so that's my plug gone. But yes, we have picked our 2 people who will be joining us.
Drum roll, please. Danny, have you got a drum roll?
I've got a drum, but no roll.
Okay.
You
You've got more
Plenty
rolls
of
than a
rolls.
bakery.
Wait, cheeky.
But yes, shall I announce who our new people are?
Yes.
Go on then.
Our first one is another female to the ABW clan, and that is Sadia, whose Twitter name is @thegoonerette, who Geoff was talking about earlier. And we love Sadia. Her vlog was amazing. And our next person who is joining is Luke Miller, whose Twitter name is @LukeIsPremium. So congratulations to you both. You will be joining our little band of writers.
Fantastic. Well done to them. And I can't wait to hear.
Hello.
I can't wait to read some of their stuff.
You can't read.
I can.
I have
They're
to
not
read
going to
them
colour
to
it
him.
in for you. Oh, okay.
You're cruel to me.
How dare you? Get on with it.
Oh, right. And the second announcement that I need to make is that we have a very new podcaster joining us. You might have heard Kate say there that we have a guest blog coming up. Well, that man is no longer a guest to the podcast. He is joined in a full terms capacity. We've signed him up with, what was it, Danny? Half a packet of Twiglets and a Viscount.
Yes, it certainly was, and it's a hard bargainer.
Yes. So, David, welcome to the ABW crew, and I hope that he's going to be on next week, but you will certainly be hearing a lot more of him on the show. So, all that's left then is the shout-outs, and I will go... Rami, do you have a shout-out?
You haven't done the predictions either, you minge.
I'm going to do predictions after shout-outs.
Oh, well, for when you say and finally the shout-outs, that led me to believe that was finally the shout-out.
All right, it's because we've overrun for time when I'm flustered.
Oh, I love it when you're flustered, cheeky monkey.
I'm worried now because you could come to me with your 4x4 wheels.
Uphill, downhill, I don't muck around.
Right. Yes. Rami, do you have a shout-out for anyone?
Chamois.
Yeah.
Anybody called Chamois?
No, I don't. I'm just hoping we're gonna win the next game so we can
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it, exactly. That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. My shout out this week is going to go to Stevie Hurst and all of the guys at the Arsenal Blood Pod, which is at Arsenal Blood Pod. So go and give them a follow. Danny.
Yes, firstly, thanks to everybody who sent in some questions. There's a load more decent questions that we could have asked, but we ran out of time because we just blabbered on. Right then, but the two blokes who won the competition, who won the day out with Geoff and Raj, cheers for that, Geoff. They really loved it.
I had a great time we did, I tell you. I had a really good time.
Ashley Rowe and Rodri Hawkins.
Two lovely guys as well, they are, I must admit. Really nice guys.
They both said you were an international man of mystery, Geoff.
Yeah, that's how
Ducking and diving.
That's how I like it, mate.
You were cloaked the entire time. They didn't even know you were there. So they asked, can they have a cheeky request of a shout-out? So there you go. That's Ashley Rowe, who is at ROWEAFC, and Rodri Hawkins, who is at AWKINS72.
They also confirmed that Geoff actually has a pixelated face as standard.
He does.
Around with a pixelated face as well.
Yeah, they spot you at the Arsenal, Geoff. You're the only one with a pixelated face.
And at the end of it, he went up to him, tapped his nose, and went, "You ain't seen me, right?"
Right.
When we went to the Highbury corner, there was a load of the Black Scarf boys there, and I'm sure there was a few of them there that if they had recognised me, I knew who I was, they'd have come and give me a right good idling. You know what I mean? So.
No, Raj would have protected you.
Yeah, Raj. I think he was in the middle of sticking them onto me.
He was probably one of them.
I'll hold him, you hit him, lads.
Funny, very funny it was.
Yeah, no, that's my shout, Stan.
Fantastic. Kate, you next.
I've got two, but I can't remember who my second one was. I will remember in a minute.
You've got one then.
The first one is for Mark King, who's at MZK90, because I got his keys in the party on Twitter earlier, apparently.
Oh.
You got his what? Sorry?
Got his keys. You know, the big bowl of keys. I don't.
Basically, Geoff, it means he gets to Frogger.
Well, no, he doesn't. I just said I got his keys earlier. Anyway, moving on. My second one is because I know he asked Danny for a shout out on Sunday, and Danny will forget because he's a bit of a mong.
Akib's birthday.
So my shout out is for Akib, who is at Akib _ is it alias?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yep.
Lovely lad.
And it's his birthday on Sunday, and I know Danny will forget the weekend because he's a bit of a mong. So Akib, you can have my shout out tonight.
Oh, and he sorted you out with BT. So
He did. Thank you, Akib.
Yeah, thank you, Akib. Right, next up, Kris.
Oh yeah, I'll get a book. He's off.
Oh, piss off.
I'll name everybody I've ever met.
No, it's just one shout out and one plug, which is actually ABW orientated. So shut your mouth, Cookie Monster. Right, my shout out is to Kelly in Canada. I haven't given her a shout for a while. She's a very, very busy lady at the moment, doing lots of bits and bobs and sorting lots of stuff out with work and God knows what else. So, thought I'd give her a little gentleman's nudge. Gentleman's nudge. Gentleman's
Spreading,
nod.
isn't it?
Hey,
People
up.
can't talk.
She's at Kelly_Mayer, which is spelled Maher. Give her a follow, particularly if you like University Challenge. She's big into that, bless her. My
And
plug.
you've started, so you'll finish.
I'm sure
Indeed.
that made Kelly's whole week.
Indeed, I'm sure. Also, my plug is, as everyone will know, listen to this, Danny and Gimli do a wonderful job. And I was fortunate enough to be interviewed by the Plymouth Herald down here where I live in Devon to do a piece for the Barbican Pirates and basically how we became a club and how we established, etc. And I was able to name drop ABW. Obviously, we've got a very unique sponsorship. For those of you new listeners that don't know the reason why we talk about the Pirates, is because ABW and some of our listeners, through a donation campaign, were able to raise enough money to help us out be a Sunday League club. So we have the ABW initials and sponsor on the front of our shirts, and I was able to crowbar that into an interview that I gave to the Herald. So that should be released hopefully tomorrow, from what I'm told, into our local press. So I'll give the link to Gimli or Danny, and we'll pop it on the old.
Give it to Gimli, he'd eat it. He'd lick it and give it back.
Snort it.
I'll give it to you then, Danny. But
I'll just forget.
the article should go up on Plymouth Herald online as well. So even people that are not in Devon, you should be able to look it up online. But if you are in Devon, give me a tweet and say hello, and I'll say hello back. It'll be all lovely. So yeah, that's my my little plug. So thank you again for everyone that's helped us be what we are.
How
seasons in a row.
embarrassing would that be if he got a bit in the paper the size of a postage stamp?
Probably. I'm assured that it'll even have a picture of one of our players wearing the shirt with the podcast logo on it in the paper. That's what I was assured. So fingers
Oh,
crossed.
Lovely.
Why,
Made it
why
now.
not you, Chris? Why didn't they take your picture?
Two ladies couldn't cope.
Because I'm not very photogenic,
true.
Kate.
Page 3.
I'll ask them to
Told ya.
crop that one.
Page buddy 53.
Jeff, have you done yours?
No, I haven't done mine. I've got one. You know what my favourite follower at the moment for about the last 6 months? A chap called Clockend88. He's got really, really good opinions. We don't agree all the time, so don't worry about that. Thinking, oh, I'm going to go on and he's another AKB. He's certainly not. But a really good follower. Get following him. Clockend88.
Fantastic. And that just about finishes off tonight's show.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Go for it.
Prediction.
It's not a shout out. Yeah, we haven't done predictions yet. But anyway, I'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's voted for the blogs, the podcast, and the radio in the blogging awards, because they've now closed. And fingers crossed, they all
5th
got into the
October,
top
isn't
6.
Yes. Fingers crossed we've all made the cut.
So thank you to everyone.
Last thing then is predictions. Predictions for Man United. So, Rami, what we normally do is the Predictions League.
And he can be the one for the listeners.
Yes, you can be the listener one. We normally do the score and the first scorer. So this week, for example, I'm going to go that we're going to beat Manchester United 3-2, and Alexis Sanchez is going to score the first goal. Rami, over to you.
I think we're going to win. I think we win 2-1. And you want a first goal scorer?
Yes, please.
I would say Walcott.
Fantastic. Geoff?
1-0 Theo.
Wonderful. Kris?
I'm with Rami on this 2-1, but I think Martial will come from behind,
Wonderful.
What, the new Henri?
as
we
all
can't.
fine gentlemen do.
We can't come from behind against these big teams, mate. It kills me.
Oh,
We've
I
got to
dunno,
score
Jeff.
first.
Wouldn't you just love it if we went behind and everyone was
Oh,
shrieking
no.
and hollering, and then we smashed them 2-1, and it was
Yeah, but it's painful watching though, isn't it, mate? There
True.
you go.
true. I hope I'm wrong.
Kate?
Well, Chris just stole mine, so I'm going to go 2-1 Rooney.
Oh.
How are we getting on the Predictions League anyway? What's the scores on the doors, Daniel?
Badly.
Hold on. What did Kate say? 2-1 we're going to beat?
2-1 Rooney.
That's 1-2 Wayne. And I'm going to go... Hold on, I'll tell you in a second, Jeff. I'm going to go... They're going to beat us 3-1, and Rooney's going to score because I hate him. And yeah, well, they're going to murder us. The predictions, Geoff, I don't know, because I have wrote all the last 4 games down. I haven't added them to the league, but by the looks of it, I still think it's Raj is probably at the top because he's doing brilliant. Kris, in the ABW Fantasy Premier League, aren't you second?
I've got no idea.
No, Schrader is.
The last time I logged in, I think was pre-season. So I don't know. Is the honest
I'm
truth.
sure you said the other day that you
No,
were second.
Jason did.
I'll log in and check. Carry on.
Okay, I'll have it. Oh, I can't look it because we are 1,581st in our own league.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Is that the Premier League one or the?
That's the Premier League.
But who
one.
picks our team for that one, Danny?
Me.
Well, there you go.
Oh, what Schrader is? Schrader is actually 115th, but he's second in the ABW members, which is a secret one. But above him is Mr. Collins.
Ooh.
And Simon so Schrader's 115th in the league, and Mr. Collins is 34th in the Fantasy Football League with over 2,000 people.
Wow.
And he's top in every other one that he's in, almost.
That's
He knows
amazing.
his stuff. He knows his
He's
stuff.
a footballing
Predictions,
genius.
please, Danny.
I did say, I said, if you'd listen, I know you don't, I said they're going to beat us 3-1 and Rooney's going to score.
Okay, wonderful. Right, all that's left then is to thank my wonderful panellists for tonight. Rami, Geoff, Kris, Kate and Danny. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Rami, thank you so much for coming back on, even if Danny has insulted you by calling you the wrong name.
Good job,
You will
Shami.
get it right
Well done,
next
mate.
time.
Cheers, Shammy.
Cheers, Rami.
Cheers,
Rami.
Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy.
So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Nanu, Shammy monkeys.
I can't believe you've done that. You're such a tit.
No matter where I go, I will return to my English roots. No one's will ever turn me from she. Sailed the 7 seas, flown a hoping sky. And I returned with haste where my lovers lie. No matter where I go, I will come back to my English rose. But nothing will ever turn me from she. Search the secret mists, climb the highest peak. From the wild wind home to hear a soft voice speak. No matter where I go, I will return to my English roads. No one's would ever keep me from she. I've been to ancient worlds, scarred the whole universe, caught the first train home to be at her side. No matter where I go, I will return to my English wars. No bonds could ever tear me from she. No bonds can ever keep me from she.
Oh, Rami doesn't care. It's 'cause I was reading
No, I
it
don't care.
out.
I don't care.
I was
I
reading
fancy we should call him Shammy. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's a good name, Chamois, mate.
Yeah.
It's like, I have an annoying habit, Rami. If I read the word Wenger, I say Wenger because it's got a W and I read it that way. And that's why I got it.
Okay.
At least I didn't call you Kris.
What's your excuse with Chubba Akpom then, Danny, with calling him Apcom?
I don't know.
I can confirm I am bottom of both leagues, by the way.
Ashley Maitland, no, it's conservative.
You're in trouble.
Do you play FIFA 16, Rami?
No, I don't.
I'm playing it now.
You do? Yeah. No, I have never been into those games.
He'd get a life, mate, this mob, I tell you.
Yeah.
Fuck's
It's not
sake.
real life, is it, Geoff?
Not real life, mate. That's what the problem is. Rami, all the internet. Oh, dogs are going mad now.
Yeah, I can hear
Shush,
that.
be quiet, dogs. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
I get made to stay up till 4 o'clock some mornings with him playing FIFA 16.
Rami, they go on, they're looking at all these players and they find out about these players. And just because they're good on FIFA, right,
Yeah.
they think Arsenal should buy them.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I agree.
That's how Pardew works.
Pardew?
Yeah, I never been into
No,
those TV games.